Okay, picture this. It's Patna, April 25th, 2025. Seems like just another Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's the climax of this pretty intense 11-month chase. They finally nab a guy named Sanjeev Kumar Mukhiya.
Also known as Lutan Mukhiya, I believe.
Exactly. And get this, his day job. Technical assistant at a horticulture college. Pretty unassuming?
Yeah, that contrast is striking. A technical assistant allegedly running this huge operation. It makes you think.
And an 11-month chase.
Yeah.
That tells you the authorities thought this was big. Really big.
Absolutely. It wasn't just some minor thing they stumbled upon. They were clearly invested in finding this specific individual.
Right, so that's what we're getting into today.
Hmm.
We want to unpack how this whole alleged scheme actually worked.
And the mechanics of it.
Yeah, the mechanics, the fallout, and maybe what it says about the whole pressure cooker of competitive exams in India.
It's a huge topic, and this case seems to touch on so many aspects of it.
We're going beyond the headlines here. There are some details that are, frankly, pretty surprising. Stuff that really makes you go, huh.
Good. Let's start with Mukhiya himself then, because this wasn't like a one-off thing for him, apparently.
No, not at all. The reports suggest he might have been involved in this kind of thing way back, like 2010.
Over a decade. That suggests a pattern, doesn't it? Not just opportunistic, but maybe a practiced method.
It certainly raises questions about how something like that could potentially go on for so long.
Mm-hmm.
What are the system weaknesses?
Exactly. And the scale. You mentioned it wasn't just Bihar.
Oh, far from it. We're talking Jharkhand, MP, Rajasthan, Odisha, West Bengal, UP. A massive network.
How do you even manage that logistically? It's almost like a franchise operation, but, for cheating.
A very twisted coaching class, maybe. The lure was powerful, though. Guaranteed success.
For a price. A very hefty price. What was it, 32 lakh rupees?
Yeah, around that. It's staggering. It speaks volumes about the desperation, right?
Or the perceived stakes, at least. Families pouring life savings into this, potentially.
So let's go back to the exam day itself, May 5th, 2024. Nearly 2.4 million kids taking the NEET UG.
Huge numbers. Across thousands of centers. A massive logistical exercise.
And while all that's happening, this select group allegedly already has the questions from the night before.
That's the core of the unfairness, isn't it? The fundamental breach of trust.
Totally undermines the whole thing for everyone else who studied, honestly.
So how did they supposedly get the paper? The story there is pretty wild, too.
Apparently, stolen straight from the control room. Oasis School in Hazaribagh, Jharkhand.
Stolen, then photographed.
Yeah. Photograph that zipped out electronically to these solver gangs.
Solver gangs, often reported to be like actual medical students themselves, right? From reputable places.
Yeah, AIMS Patna, RIMS Ranchi.
Yeah.
Students already in the system.
Which adds another layer. Why would they get involved? Money, pressure. It's disturbing.
And the security implications. Getting a paper out of a control room like that.
Huge red flags. Vulnerabilities in transport, storage, maybe even invigilation. Somewhere, the system failed.
Then came the results, June 4th, 2024. And they came out early, which was weird in itself.
And then the numbers, 67 perfect scores. That just didn't look right to a lot of people.
Especially when 6 of those came from the same exam center.
Right. That cluster was statistically, let's say, highly improbable. That really fueled the public outcry.
There were protests. The whole thing went to the Supreme Court.
And the court looked into it. They acknowledged, I think, 155 students benefited from grace marks due to time loss issues.
But ultimately, they decided it wasn't like a system-wide leak warranting a full re-exam for everyone.
Which was controversial in itself. But the damage to public trust was already done, wasn't it?
Massively. How can students feel the process is fair after something like this?
Perception is everything in exams like these. Fairness has to be seen to be believed.
So after the case was filed in May 2024, the hunt for Mukhiya began, and he vanished.
For almost a year, that takes some doing. Suggest resources, maybe help.
Definitely seemed elusive. Reports said he was moving between states, even possibly crossed into Nepal at some point.
And you have both the State Economic Offenses Unit, the EOU, and the CBI involved. That shows how seriously they took it.
They were pulling out all the stops. Raids in 15 places, 40 arrests eventually.
Who got arrested? It wasn't just foot soldiers, was it?
No, it was a mix. School principals, actual MBBS students, even a junior engineer. A real cross-section.
Indicating a pretty complex network, people in positions of trust, potentially.
And they found burnt question papers. Classic attempt to destroy evidence.
Very telling. Shows consciousness of guilt, right? A deliberate cover-up attempt.
The Bihar government kept upping the reward money for him, too. Put a proclamation order on his house.
Yeah.
really turning up the heat.
They clearly wanted him badly. He was seen as the linchpin.
And then finally, the night of April 24th, 2025, they get a tip-off.
Intelligence work paying off.
Led them to this nondescript apartment near Sagunamore in Dinapur. Midnight raid. Special task force, local police, and they got him.
After 11 long months. Must have been quite a moment for the investigators.
You could almost hear the relief in the EOU ADG's confirmation. Nair Husnain Khan. Like, finally.
Now the real work of interrogation begins, presumably. Unraveling the entire web.
And it gets weirder. This whole thing might have been a bit of a family business.
Oh.
His son, Shiv Kumar, who is an MBBS doctor, ironically enough.
A doctor. Seriously.
Yeah. Already arrested, apparently, for involvement in previous alleged paper leaks.
Wow. So this pattern potentially runs in the family. That's something else.
And his wife, Mamta Kumari, even ran for political office. Unsuccessfully, but still, it paints a picture.
It certainly suggests this wasn't some isolated act by one person, but potentially a more embedded operation.
So the modus operandi. How did the gang actually pull it off day to day?
From what's emerged, it seems like they'd identify students, perhaps desperate ones, or ones whose families had money.
Promise them the golden ticket exam success for that huge fee we mentioned.
And they'd use these solver gangs, those MBBS students we talked about.
Right. Get them the leaked paper, they solve it. Then what? How did the answers get to the candidates?
That part's still a bit murky, but one specific incident stands out.
The mock exam.
Exactly. They apparently rented a whole school in Patna, brought in about 35 candidates.
Told them it was a practice test.
Yeah, a mock exam. But the paper they gave them was allegedly the actual NEET paper they'd obtained.
That's incredibly brazen, using a school like that.
And afterwards, reports say they collected the papers and burned them. Right there, trying to erase all traces.
But investigators found the charred remains, didn't they?
I did.
Right.
Crucial evidence recovered despite the attempt to destroy it.
It's a fascinating, if disturbing, story about Mukhiya. But we need to zoom out too, right? This isn't just about one guy.
Absolutely not. His
Right.
alleged actions took place within a specific context.
The whole environment around these competitive exams in India, the insane pressure.
The pressure is immense from families, from society, and the coaching industry that feeds into it, often very expensive.
It creates this fertile ground, doesn't it? Where someone promising a shortcut, even an illegal and expensive one, can find takers.
Precisely. People like Mukhiya allegedly exploit that desperation and that intense focus on exam results above all else.
And it's not just NEET, is it? The CBI filed, what, 6 FIRs across different states for different exams.
Yeah, Bihar teacher recruitment, UP constable exam, state constable exams. It points to a wider problem.
And other alleged masterminds are out there too, right? Names like Ravi Atri, Rakesh Ranjan, Prakash Kumar crop up.
Yes, and wasn't there a comment from Atri calling Mukhiya an old player in this game?
Yeah, suggesting Mukhiya wasn't just involved for a long time, but maybe a significant figure in that world.
It paints a picture of an interconnected underground network preying on the anxieties of the exam system.
So Mukhiya is arrested. What happens now, legally?
Well, the investigations continue. They'll be trying to dismantle the rest of the network, gather more evidence. He faces multiple cases now.
The NEET leak, the teacher exam leak, UP constable, it's a long list.
A very long list. And the legal process will likely take time. Plus, there's the ongoing scrutiny of the NTA, the testing agency.
Yeah, they've faced a lot of heat over this. Questions about their procedures, security.
And rightly so. An incident like this demands a thorough review of how these high-stakes exams are conducted and secured.
It's almost darkly impressive, in a way. The sheer creativity, maybe, to build a multi-state exam leak franchise.
The audacity is certainly remarkable. The level of planning and networking required, it's quite something, albeit for criminal purposes.
It underscores the challenge for authorities trying to prevent this kind of thing. The criminals are often quite sophisticated.
They have to be just as sophisticated, if not more so, in their prevention and detection methods.
So Mukhiya's arrest is definitely a big step. Accountability.
A necessary step, yes, but not the end of the story.
Not by a long shot. It really forces you to think about those bigger systemic issues, doesn't it?
It does. What is it about the system itself that creates these vulnerabilities, that immense pressure?
And are there other weak points? Other exams, other methods we don't even know about yet?
It leaves you wondering about the real integrity of it all and how we ensure genuine fairness. A level playing field feels essential.
Absolutely. It's not just about catching one person. It's about fixing the environment that lets these things happen in the first place. Lots to think about there.